Hi guys, Red Ninja here, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to set up an aftermarket flywheel cage. Now hopefully this video will be an amendment to my previous guide on how to set up an aftermarket flywheel cage. In this video I aim to be a lot more concise, and I hope to aim to cover a lot more information that I missed in the previous video. So without further ado, let's start the video. Okay, so what you'll need is an aftermarket flywheel cage, some aftermarket flywheels, and some aftermarket motors. In today's combination, we have the Daybreak cage of about 42.5 millimeters. We have some Inferno wheels made by Containment crew, and the motors that we'll be using today are MTB Neo-Rhino motors. Other things you'll need are some screws, these came with the cage, some screwdrivers, multi-grip pliers for tools, and of course some blue thread locker. Now thread locker is optional, however I strongly recommend that you do use thread locker because as the screws are mounted into the motors will vibrate due to them spinning around, and sometimes the screws can come loose and it will loosen up the motors, and we don't want that. Okay, so on most mod motors that we use, we have this red dot. Now what this indicates is alignment, so whenever we wire positive to this red dot, then the motor will spin in a clockwise direction towards that red dot. This means that when we do wire up the flywheel cage, we need to have those motors facing opposite each other. So on your flywheel cage, you should have what's called a dart guide, which is this bit here, or the front barrel, which would be located around here, or you can have both. Now orient your cage like this with the dart guide facing towards you, and what we're going to do is orient the motors. Okay, so left hand motor will have the red dot facing downwards, and because on the left hand motor the red dot is facing this way, we'll have to put the marking red dot the opposite way, like this. Now in this position, if your motors are set up exactly like this, you'll be wiring positive to the front and negative towards the back. I've done flywheel mods pretty frequently, so I already know that this is the way. However, if you have reversed the positions of the red dots, then just note that you will need to reverse the polarity. So what we're going to do next is lock the motors down using the screws. Now before I do that, I usually just put some thread locker onto the tiny screws, like so. Just put a little bit of... Okay. Now turn the cage over like this, and you want to make sure that the bearing is flush with the cage, or as shown, like that. And then we'll lock it in place with the two screws. Be very gentle with this process as well. Just a tip, make sure that the screws are also flush with the cage and the bearing as shown, like that. And when screwing it in, you want to screw it gently, so make sure that you don't strip the screws. Once that's done, we can lock the other motor down. So just do that. Okay, so the motors are secured. Now what we're going to do is leave the cage to cure for about 10 minutes and then we'll put on the flywheels. So now we'll put on the flywheels. You can see this part here, this is the shaft, and if you can see in here there should be a little hole right there. We're going to be aligning the shaft with this hole first. So let's do that. There we go. Now what we're going to do is use water pump pliers and just push the flywheels on, like so. Do this part gently. There we go. So a couple of things to note when you do put the wheels on. First, be very gentle when putting the wheels on. Secondly, make sure that the wheels are aligned with the barrel as shown, if you can see right there. That's just so that when the dart is passed, it won't be misaligned and there won't be marks in the dart. And yeah, it's also helpful for getting better contact on the dart as well. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the flywheel cage. The next thing to note is first make sure that the wheels are spinning freely and they aren't grinding on anything. And so far they are, but what I like to do is just test. Yep, that's fine, and perfect. So the next step is to wire the flywheel cage up to your blaster and then you're ready to go. Now I won't be showing you a firing test in this video because this cage will be going in a demolisher and that will come out in a later video, so stay tuned for that. But until then, hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up, it really helps. And if you want to see more on Red Ninja Productions, subscribe and join the Ninja Academy. But until next time, see you guys later. Bye.